Welcome to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam, to ETHDam.
All right, up next we have Sandi with Breaking the Privacy Paradox. Thank you very much.
Cool, everybody. Thank you for being here. Yesterday I had a talk at Web3 Privacy Now, which was a little bit more philosophical. This one is going to be half-half. It's going to be first part philosophical, second part more technical. But like before I start, I just want to introduce myself. I started my career at Google, so Web2 guy, infrastructure engineer. Went to Web3 in the 2017 ICO craze. Realized like there's a bunch of things happening. Maybe I should find a regular job again. Still believed I still was like working at Facebook back then, but like I was playing around with Web3 and I was like just waiting for the right time to come back. This sign actually was behind, across the Facebook office in London. So I was watching every day smoking this sign, your right to privacy has been revoked, while shipping Facebook 7-8 times a day. And realized like, maybe I should come back to Web3. And then in 2020, I joined as an early engineer at Near Protocol. I essentially like managed the infrastructure for them. And 3 years ago, I started Calimero with this idea of like, how do we bring privacy to users in Web3? And I just wanted to mention like why I didn't really like Facebook or Google. It was like a personal thing. I liked the technical job, but they had this mantra like, you bring your true self to work. And I always felt like if I bring my true self to work, I would get fired the first day. So like not a cultural fit. And like I wanted to talk about like the privacy paradox. So like it is a statistical thing. If you go on the street and you ask 100 people like, do you care about privacy? Usually you get like 90%, answer yes, I do care about privacy. But then you ask them like, what do you do about it? And you get essentially pretty much nothing. I use WhatsApp, it's end-to-end encrypted. Some very rarely people use Signal. But majority of us don't really do much. And the sad thing is that we work in Web3. So I just want to ask you, like, raise your hand if your company uses Slack, for example. We are faulty as well. Like, raise your hand if your company uses Atlassian or Jira or like any other solution. We don't. We use Slack, for example, because everybody else in Web3 does, and we're just forced to do it. But like we are slowly just moving off. Raise your hands if you use ChatGPT. Many people do, of course. If you use Notion, many people do. So the question is like, there's obviously a problem here, right? Like we are praising data ownership, self-sovereign money, and I don't know whatsoever, but like we all use these tools. And we know the problem behind using these tools, right? Like 23andMe goes down, wants to sell your genetic data. Amazon finds $6 million, nothing for them. For, again, selling personal data to GDPR. Facebook buys a VPN company to spy on competition of their competition. ByteDance, ChatGPT leaking user passwords, ChatGPT leaking private repos on GitHub. Uber fine for like transferring data of European drivers to America, etc. Many times. And usually I call this software as a service or stack as a service. I don't know if any of you watched Black Mirror, new season, first episode. I had this talk, like, it's not like I didn't come up after watching this episode. I have this slide for like 2 years now. So if you look at any of my other talks, I had it in there. But essentially it's like, Chris Dixon writing in the book, attract and then extract. And it's like the same thing. I bring you back from life and then you're a slave for life with me. And that's like essentially what every software as a service company does. And like if you really think of like Web3, cypherpunk initial, values, this like quote for me really encompasses it. A trusted third party is a one-to-many. So like if you have to trust one centralized server, that's already too much. And that's like what we want to achieve at Calimero. I think we did a really good job with like DeFi in Web3, but every single other thing which is not DeFi in our daily life, and I think that's a big majority, is not covered. And the other thing is like, I always do this, call to action. Like if we are not using the products of Web3, nobody else will. So like I have this question, how many of you get paid in USDC? Exactly, not enough. You know, how many of you, you can do the trick, right? So like, why are you in Web3 if you're not willing to get paid in USDC? You should, and also your employer should. If you employ people, you should tell them we should like dog food, or like dog food is a concept from Web 2, Web 1. Like you should practice what you preach, and if you don't do it, like everybody's faulty, right? Like I am the first one to like admit, yeah, I'm not doing it perfectly, but every day, every time we try to do it better. Like we even at some point, like we killed Slack and we had like our own self-hosted thing, and then like we would go to a Web3 foundation and they're like, let's connect on Slack, and I was like, I mean, let's use this third-party thing. I was like, no, let's connect on Slack. Or like often we went to foundations and like they would say privacy is not a priority for us. And I was like, I mean, you're a Web3 like foundation, like you should be all about privacy, right? But bizarre. And I just wanted to like give you like maybe a sneak peek of like what we do at Calimero. So like Calimero is inspired by some blockchain concepts, but we are not a blockchain. We are like a local first developer framework. So we allow users to host their data locally. So let's say you use Slack, Atlassian, or whatever type of app you would normally use, you would have the data on your device. I'm gonna go a little bit into later. It's simple because like it's very easy to build on us. I will show you like few examples. There's no central authority, so like all the communication happens peer-to-peer. It's fully end-to-end encrypted, and it's like one of the most important things. It's open source. So essentially, like what Calimero is, like comes back to the David Chom's first vision. Like there's no centralized server, no trusted party ever. So for example, here on this side, you can see like this is me, my body, and my third body. And we all have this kind of device, our own personal Calimero node. And this Calimero node can be, anything. It can be a personal server you run. I know like many people don't want to run their personal servers. So like you could just buy a box, like you buy a router, you plug it in like a Helium, you have your own Calimero node at home, host all your data. You could, like the node could be just your mobile phone, it could be your laptop, it could be actually a server you host, or it could be even a trusted execution environment which somebody else hosts for you. And then for like every node, we have an application. An application is like a peer-to-peer, like we call it application context. So it's like a peer-to-peer encrypted data stream. Slack instance, a Slack channel, a private social group, a private DAO instance, or anything else. And like my idea is like we're gonna move from personal computing cloud to personal service in the future, one way or the other. Also, like one of the important values of like Web3 is like cypherpunks, or like cypherpunks, is that cypherpunks write code. Like if we don't build these solutions, we're never gonna have these solutions. And I mean, there's obviously, very big stigma about building privacy solutions in general. People get imprisoned. Most of 99% of these people just are normal people who are like, I really like to code. This is a very hard problem to solve. I really want to solve it. And generally, they had like something cool in mind, like I want to help society instead of whatever, right? And generally, like, I mean, if we don't build it for the good, somebody's going to build it for the bad either ways. So if you want to check our repo, it's like public from day one. Also, I want to mention, like, we are a very small team, less than 10 people. And recently, like, most of our contribution come from public bounties. So like recently, we just launched a public bounty page. We have pull requests which are labeled as bounties. You submit a pull request, you do the issue, you get paid in USDC on-chain. And also, like, in the future, we ideally get like more grants for like building products on top of us and other things. Just like a very short brief, like you can look more like talk to me or like do learn like what we do. But like we have like a service SDK is essentially like a smart contract SDK, very similar. You can log in with like wallet SSO to your node, depends where you host the node, right? It's very similar to a blockchain. You have an RPC node, like you have RPC inside the node. You have an auth server if you want, so auth server can be like login with wallet, login with SSO, whatever, like whatever you decide to do. We have a Wasm runtime because I worked at Near. I believe Wasm is the best way to build, customizable thing, ship the binary, write Rust, write in whatever language you want. And then usually what here would be a consensus. We don't use a consensus, we use a CRDT engine. And like CRDTs are conflict-free replicated data types. Not have time to go into this, very complicated, but essentially we dump it into storage on your device and then we broadcast it to the rest of the people. And I wanted just to mention, like, communication is encrypted. So every time when you create a context or you add a people, you have a shared key between these two people. All encryption is like bulletproof until quantum computers. But I think soon also we're gonna add just like some quantum resistant cryptography in the future. And how it looks, like we have this few examples of a building. Only peers are like only fans. No, it's not only fans. It's like our social network example. So we have only peers. All the peers are interconnected. You just write, you know, like the basic struct, the vector of post. You have the post, what it means, like what it contains. You have a comment. You write the init function. You write the small functions you want. Create post, delete post, whatever. You compile it, deploy it on your node. Other people install the app, and it just works. We take care of everything else. Thank you. I hope this talk was interesting to you. I was a bit faster because conscious of time. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Come to me or the team. And yeah. Does anybody have maybe a question now? No questions? Sad. What? The code is legit beautiful. I always say, like, if, like, I really legitly, I just said to Anton today, like, when you write, like, it's, I mean, we learn from others, right? We learn from others. It's not like we come up, you know, we worked at NEAR, we worked at other places in blockchain, but, like, it is legit beautiful. And it's legit easy to build a peer-to-peer app.
How is the Bounty platform working?
So currently we have, we just launched, when we started initially, it was only on GitHub. We would label the GitHub bounty claimed, if somebody claimed it, and reward dash price. And recently Anton, who works on our team, worked with me and folks to launch actual websites. So if you go to calimero.network/bounties, you can see all the GitHub bounties. You can just click apply. We assign you to the bounty. We talk to people on Discord. And like once you ship the bounty, it's merged. We just send you the money in USDC. And the idea is that currently the bounties are mostly working on the core protocol. The idea is now to like add you know, other things like implementation with different blockchains, because we support interactions with blockchains. The idea is to, for example, add bigger bounties to maybe build a product, to build examples, to build demos. So we started small with like $50 bounties, $200 bounties, $500 bounties, but we are trying to like ramp it up to actual products now that we have a significant, like 20 people who contribute. But the idea is like we don't grow the company, we grow the community who works on contributing to us. Like that's kind of, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.